All right, so recording this, going to send it back out to anybody who can't make it. The benefit of attending live, and there'll be more people that come on, is I think it's twofold on your commitment. So I'm going to be doing two more of these throughout the year. So this is my second one. I'm going to be doing at least four. The benefit of attending live is that you can ask questions. So throughout this webinar, you can put it in the Q&A. I will save all the questions for the end, and I will go over them. And then if you want me to elaborate on that, that's fine. You can drop stuff in the chat box, you can whatever. That's part of it. But you have a certain level of commitment when you're able to attend something. When you set a time in your calendar, rather than, oh, there'll be a recording and I send it out, we'll have a couple hundred people sign up for these webinars, and then like 70 or 80 will attend. And we'll send it back out to everybody, but I promise you, if you ever get the opportunity to listen to this live, those 70 to 80 of you that actually watch this live, you're going to get to ask questions. We'll get to go back and forth, things you can do in a recording. It will also build value in your time commitment to set aside an hour and just talk about some stuff. So I'm excited to share everything with you and utilize this Q&A section. Get on here, ask a million questions. We go through it. Even if I'm 15 minutes in and you have a question, drop it in the Q&A and I'll revisit it at the end. And the good news is if I miss it, you're on here and you can just ask that question again. All right. So this topic, super hot topic. It's how to become a fat burner. This is actually what my first book was going to be on. So the only book that I've written, I was looking for a copy, I don't have it, is Nutrition Finance. It's available on Amazon, and we have a bunch of copies in the gyms and stuff. But the first book that I was ever going to write before that was How to Become a Fat Burner. And it's this concept of how to actually get your body to burn fat. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to talk about where I started thinking about how to burn fat. I'm going to talk to you about clients over the years that have really had success with losing fat or really struggled with losing fat. And then I'm going to talk to you about a bunch of strategies. I'm going to talk to you about how to work your way up in a 3-step process to put your body in a position to burn fat. And we're just going to have a good time hanging out. I know you probably hear music in the background. I'm at one of our gyms right now. It's just been a busy day. And I was like, all right, well, I got to hop on right now. But either way, maybe you'll like the music in the background. It'd be super fun. But so here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with like a little story. And I know most of you guys have got to meet you, got to train you, work with you. And maybe you know where I come from, maybe you don't. But when I was 13, I was 5'5", and I was 200 pounds. Yeah, that's right. Today I'm 6 feet, I'm 180 pounds, just to give you some perspective on that. But when I was 13, I was 5'5", I was 200 pounds, and I hated everything about myself. I was completely miserable, and it wasn't for any lack of motivation. I was highly motivated in wanting to lose weight. That was not the question. I wasn't sitting around wishing that it would happen. Yeah, I maybe didn't work out every day. Maybe my eating habits were kind of off, and I had to develop really good things over the years. But when I decided that I wanted to start losing weight, I wasn't struggling to lose weight because I just didn't have it in me. I just didn't want to, not eat the donuts. I didn't have a problem working hard or exercising for a long period of time. And the first time that I started really losing weight, it was over Christmas break. And it was 7th grade, or it was like 6th or 7th grade going into the next year. And that Christmas break, I did this workout. I remember going to Gold's Gym. That's exactly what it was. My friend had a membership there. We went there and we did all the exercises. I mean, every exercise you can think of, and with no knowledge. You're like 12, 13 years old, whatever. And I'm just doing 500 bicep curls and then 200 of these, and then get on this cardio equipment for 45 minutes. I mean, anything. I was so sore the next day that I couldn't even pick up my arms. Literally, I thought they were stuck like this. I mean, it was so bad. I could not even function. And my whole body hurt. And I was thinking to myself, this is miserable. However, I lost 2 pounds. I did this really, really hard workout. And remember, I just wanted to lose weight. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have any direction. I go to this gym. I work out really hard. I get on the scale the next day. It's down 2 pounds. I said, winning. And I said, well, can I do that again? Right. So I go to the gym the next day. I dragged myself in there with what was left of my body. And I did it all again. I got on this elliptical thing and I did it for 450 calories. That's what I did. I did 450 calories and then I did all this other stuff. And it was just crazy. And then I got on the scale again and nothing. And I said, well, that don't make sense. I lost 2 pounds the first day. I went in and did basically the same thing again, and nothing happened. My body didn't change. And then I started talking to my mom, and my mom encouraged me to start doing Weight Watchers. And she said, hey, this is what I did when I was a kid. This might help you. You know, we didn't know a whole lot. Not saying Weight Watchers is bad. It's just we didn't know a whole lot. It was, okay, Weight Watchers. Yeah, that's me. I want to watch my weight. So, you know, I go there. And they put me on these points. And I said, well, no, I'm a genius, right? Here, I'm a genius. You're telling me to eat this many points. I'm going to lose weight faster. I'll just eat less points. That's what I'll do. And I remember thinking that I was going to eat 100 calories a day. I was going to eat one apple. That was my plan. I was going to eat one apple, because what I was doing is I was chasing the 2 pounds that I lost that first day at Gold's Gym when I kicked the crap out of myself. And eating an apple a day lasted 6 hours, probably good 6 hours. Didn't last long at all, because 100 calories is nothing, especially when you're 13 years old and have no willpower. Now, fast forward, I started figuring this thing out. I started realizing how much I needed to eat, how much I needed to exercise, started riding my bicycle a lot, actually started following Weight Watchers, and I lose 65 pounds from the ages of 13 to 14 years old. And I started figuring some stuff out. I started noticing a couple things. One of those things being that I could not eat and not lose weight. That's right. I said not eat and not lose weight. I had to eat more in order to lose weight. I also noticed that the more that I went to the gym and the more that I beat myself up and just worked really, really hard every single day, the scale would stay the same, and it might even go up. So I was like, I'm not Elon Musk here. Keep in mind, Elon Musk wasn't a big thing when I was 13, but you know, I'm not Elon Musk here. However, eating less and exercising more really doesn't seem to be linking up. Now, fast forward to I start training a bunch of people. And what I started noticing is I would sit down with these people and I would do these training consultations, and I would talk to them. And it was kind of ridiculous that I would do this training consultation to explain to you that you're not in shape, which was ridiculous, because it's like they know, okay, talk about the plan, right? But I would sit down and I would do these training consultations, and I would ask people to tell me what they ate. And I really don't think that people were lying. I don't think that they were just making stuff up. However, they would tell me what they ate throughout the day, and it wasn't that crazy. I mean, I was not meeting with people that couldn't lose weight because they were eating 2 cheese pizzas. Nobody ever sat down with me in a training consultation and said, you know, it's just the weirdest thing, Mitchell. I have been eating 4 Big Macs every day, and I don't understand why I can't lose weight. I would talk to people and I would hear things like this. Maybe you've said this to yourself. When I eat really well. I eat really clean. You know, I eat this yogurt for breakfast. I eat whole grain, whatever. I eat the Cheerios, the things that you're marketed. You know, I'm not stuffing my face with burritos. Like, yeah, I might go out on the weekend and maybe I have 1 or 2 meals. Maybe I have a little bit more alcohol than I should. But it's not insane. It's not the TLC show, My 600-Pound Life, right? And I was like, man, this really, it doesn't sound weird, and it always seems to be good. You're all eating, you know, salads at least 3 days a week. You're all trying to drink some water. You know, you're doing something, right? And then I started hearing this other thing a lot. Another thing I started hearing was, my body won't let me lose weight. Heard that all the time. You know, my husband, my friend, my whatever, they just, you know, drink water for a week and lose 10 pounds. Me, if I look at a cookie, I gain 10 pounds. My body won't let me lose weight. I tried to work out. I tried to eat well. And they always blamed it on themselves. My body won't let me lose weight. My body won't let me lose weight. And I was like, well, I don't think that's a personal attack. Like, I don't think that your body hates you so much that it refuses to let you lose weight. However, I do think you're not losing weight. And why aren't you losing weight? Like, what's happening? Why does this person over here get to lose weight faster than you? But you're eating the salads and you're working out and doing the thing, and it doesn't make sense to me. And it didn't really start making sense to me until I became a metabolic technician. In about 2000, I think it was 2009, 2010, I became a metabolic technician where I would test people's metabolism. And what that means is we would put a mask on you and we would measure two things: your during exercise and your at rest. You have a resting metabolism, which is called your RMR, resting metabolic rate. You have an activity metabolism. And we would measure your oxygen intake to carbon dioxide output, basically a gas exchange. And in this gas exchange, we could see how much of your body burned fat. Now, the company that I was affiliated with was E. Newleaf. This is used in universities. It's not just something that I like made up. Like, it's used through and through. It's a real accurate measurement. And what you would find is that by how much oxygen somebody used, you could see how much fat you were actually burning. And you could see it at rest and you could see it at activity. So it started having me ask a lot of questions. I said, I think we might be onto something here, because if you can't lose weight and you can lose weight, and it's not about eating 100 calories a day, it's not about just exercise less, I'm saying exercise more and eat less. If there's something more than that, what is it? How does your body burn fat? Because if you want to be a fat burner, if you want to tap into your fat metabolism, the question you should ask yourself is, well, how do I even burn fat to begin with? And that's what I want to share with you. So first off, I want to share with you my like an exercise metabolism. If you guys did this metabolic testing, like I was explaining, what I'm going to show you right here, what's up on this screen, is I'm going to show you your exercise zones. Now, I'm going to explain a topic to you. Don't obsess about this topic. Just bear with me in the mindset here. All right. So here's what would happen is we would put you on a treadmill and we would have this mask on you and we would increase your intensity, whether the intensity was your speed or whether your intensity was like your resistance or the hill climb on a treadmill, right? Something to make you work harder. And your heart rate would go up. And that's what we're actually measuring is your heart rate and then your gas exchange to see how much you burn fat. Okay, as you're breathing in this mask and your heart rate goes up, I want you guys to look right here. You see these zones. What we would do is we would find your zones, zones 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And these are heart rate zones. And you'll notice under zones, it has BPMs or beats per minute. So like zone 1, 113 to 148 beats per minute. It's a range. Zone 2, 149 to 157 beats per minute. Zone 3, zone 4, zone 5. All right, just bear with me. You got your 1 through 5 zones and you have a heart rate range. And we're measuring you majority of the time on the treadmill. And we're trying to find these zones. Now, here's why. The higher your heart rate gets, the less oxygen you use. So if I'm walking, if I'm talking, I got people running in and out of the gym right now, they're using oxygen. You're running, you're talking to your friend. What happens when you squat? Squat down, stand up, you're able to use oxygen because your heart rate's lower. You're probably like zone 1, zone 2. When you run a marathon, you're definitely in zone 2, maybe a little zone 3. These higher zones, this is like our rev style workouts here at the gym. This is when you are in oxygen debt. You are not using oxygen. You're doing the assault bike or something like that. You are panting. And the reason that you're panting is you borrowed oxygen from your body. You borrowed oxygen, let's say, from your legs to do a whole bunch of bicep curls or something like that. And when you're done with the exercise and you're walking around going like this, you're finding a way to repay your body with the oxygen that you borrowed from them. Here's what's really cool about that. It takes oxygen to burn fat. I'm going to repeat that. It takes oxygen to burn fat. You cannot metabolize you cannot metabolize fat on a cellular level without oxygen. And what that means for you is look down here where my little cursor is, down in zone 1. For this person, if they had their zones and they did an hour's worth of exercise in zone 1, they would burn 978 calories. But 34% of those calories would come from fat and 66% would come from carbs. If I bring my heart rate up, if I come over here in zone 2, for this person, it's between 149 and 157 beats per minute. They would burn 1,100 calories in an hour of exercise. So actually not that many more calories, 978, 1110. However, look at that fat percentage, meaning every calorie, every minute, they're burning 55% of those calories from fat and 45% from carbs. So again, 1,100 calories an hour, 55% coming from fat. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, heck yes, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to work harder, get higher in those zones. Well, oh, crap. Oh, no, look, zone 3. Zone 3, what happens? You burn more calories, less percentage of fat, 48% of fat, 52% of carbs. Zone 4, what do? You get on your Apple Watch and you're like, heck yeah, I burned so many calories. I burned 1,300 calories in an hour. But because you're in zone 4, you burned 0% of those from fat. And the problem with that is nobody comes to the gym and says, I want to lose 10 pounds of carbs. Everybody comes to the gym and says, I want to lose 10 pounds of fat, right? So what we would notice with your metabolic testing here is that you had 2 parts. You had right here at the top of zone 1, bottom of zone 2, this area right here, you have this thing called your aerobic base. This is where you're burning 50% of your calories from fat and 50% of your calories from carbohydrates. It's a really, really good ratio because you'd be burning a high amount of calories, 50% fat, 50% carbs. Right here at the top of zone 3, this is called your anaerobic threshold. Anaerobic threshold is measured through oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. Maybe you guys have heard of lactate threshold. That's like what Lance Armstrong and all those guys get tested on. It's the same thing. It's just one's measured through blood, which is lactate threshold, and one's measured through oxygen, which is anaerobic. Anaerobic meaning without oxygen threshold. Right here at the top of zone 3, your body reaches a point where it crosses over and it's burning 100% of its calories from carbohydrates, meaning that you're busting your butt. How many people out there are just, you're crushing it, right? You work out all the time in the gym, you don't eat any calories, and you're still tired, you're still overweight, right? That was me, 13 years old, didn't eat, worked out really hard, and I said, I'm still overweight, and I'm freaking exhausted because I have no food in my body, and I work out all the time. You don't want to do that. And you'll notice that you burn a high amount of calories. Like, I don't get it, I'm burning so many calories, but my body doesn't look any different. At minimum, zones 4 and 5, you're burning all glycogen, all carbohydrates inside the muscle. So your muscles actually get flat. Like there's no pop, there's no vasodilation, there's no veins coming out. The muscles aren't fuller. Down here, zones 1 and 2, you're burning majority fat. Fat is what lives in between the muscle and skin. So you can actually start seeing more definition. You get the person more tone, stuff like that. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking the answer is heart rate training. All right. And I'll be the first person to tell you the answer is not ever heart rate training. Heart rate training is ridiculous unless you're just training for an actual sport like running or biking. That's a whole separate webinar, whatever. But the idea of it, I want you to stay with me on this zone thing here, that the higher your heart rate gets, the more calories you burn, but the less you burn from fat and the more you burn from sugar. And you're attending this webinar so you can learn how to burn fat, not how to burn sugar. So I want you to think of 2 things. The first thing I want you to think about is what's happening when your heart rate goes up, is you're under more stress. So if I'm exercising and my heart rate goes up, is it the exercise? Like if I get on a treadmill and my heart rate goes up, is that any different than getting on an elliptical? Is it any different than getting on a bike? Or what if I just pointed a gun at you and started shooting guns all around you? Would your heart rate go up? Mine would. I think yours would. So heart rate being the only indicator of if you're getting more fit and if you're burning more fat isn't necessarily true, because it's how your heart rate gets elevated. Meaning that if you win the lottery and you have a traumatic instance in your life, like somebody passes away or something like that, and you have all this anxiety, just because you won the lottery or somebody passed away in your life or something like that, your body doesn't know the difference between stress. It's just stress. Your brain understands that one means you about to buy a yacht and the other one you're sad, all right? Your brain understands that. Your body doesn't understand the stress. So basically, the more stress that your body is under, the higher that you climb up, follow my cursor here, the more stress that you have in your body, the less fat your body's able to burn. See, remember what I said earlier, it takes oxygen to burn fat. Fat is the most complex molecule in your body. There is 4 calories in a gram of protein, 4 calories in a gram of carbohydrates, and there are 9 calories in 1 gram of fat. So there's over double the amount of energy in 1 gram of fat than there is anything else. So fat is your body's most efficient fuel source. Your body wants to use fat. It would be awesome. I know all the keto people are like, heck yeah, fat forever. However, the moment that stress happens, the moment that you put strain on your body doesn't have time to burn fat. So screw it and go straight to carbohydrates, because carbohydrates and sugar are much easier to break down. Think about when you're in zones 4 and 5 up here, when you're going and you're dying and you're pushing and you're grinding, and your body doesn't have time to burn fat. It takes twice as long. It says, give me energy now. And that term is called glucose or glycogen. Glucose meaning sugar inside the bloodstream, glycogen meaning carbohydrates inside the muscles, but it breaks those down. Now that's part of it. So basically, if your body's under stress, then it's going to turn straight to carbohydrates, not fat. But thing number 2 that I want you to think about, as great as this was, and as awesome as this is, and you think you're going to stay in zone 2 for the rest of your life, you only exercise for 1 hour a day. You're not exercising for 23 hours a day. So all you people in the comments that were like, I'm going to exercise 5 times a week, 6 times a week, 7 times a week. Love it. Cool. Great. Crush it. Whole hour every day. Shoot. Do 2 hours every day. You an animal. You're still not exercising for 22 hours a day. 23 hours a day for most people. If you skip a day, there's a chance that you can go 36 or maybe even 48 hours without exercising. So you need to look at your exercise as a productivity tool. You need to look at your exercise as, what am I going to do in here that gets me more bang for my buck outside of here? What will raise my metabolism when I'm not exercising? Because if I can do something during my workout that raises my metabolism after my workout, who cares how much I do in the hour? I want to burn more fat when I'm not working out. And what that's called, I mentioned this earlier, is your RMR, or your resting metabolic rate. And that's how many calories you burn at rest. And when you're laying there, when you're sitting there, when you're watching TV, what I want you to think about is, what can I do here to raise my metabolism while I'm not doing anything, right? So if you have your workbook, if you got that workbook that we sent out to you in email and it looks like this, I want you to pull up this first section here. And this is why it's blank in this gray area, is I just want you to write RMR right here, RMR. And this area, and if you didn't get the workbook or whatever, that's fine. We'll send it to you after this. Oh man, look at these pretty faces up here. We'll send it to you after this, but this is a notes section for you. So if anything, take notes, then you can absolutely, but you want to write RMR right here. Now, here's the deal. This RMR, this is how you become a fat burner. What you're trying to do is you're trying to look at that concept that I just brought up. If I can go back 4 pictures here of these zones, and you're trying to say, here's the story. The story is that stress on my body decreases my chance of burning fat. What I want to do is increase how many calories from fat I burn at rest. So what I got for you here is I got you the average RMR for women and the average RMR for men. So the average female burns 1,400 calories at rest, meaning if you lay on the couch and watch Netflix all day, sounds like a great Sunday to me, but you would burn 1,400 calories a day. Average male, 1,800 calories. But here's what you got to look at. You got to say, I want a big bang for my buck, right? I'm sure all you love investing. You're like, if you go invest in the stock market, or you go get a bond or something like that, you're putting your money in and it builds money for you. It builds interest, like 4%, 6%, 8%, whatever the thing, right? That's a good investment. So what I got broken down for you over here is how much these things impact your resting metabolism. So I give you an example. If you increase your kidney function, we're going to talk about this later, you'll increase your resting metabolism 7%. So if the average person burns 60 to 90 calories every hour that you sit. All right, you just sit there, hang out. You're probably gonna burn like 60, 90 calories. What if you could burn 100? What if you could burn 110? Well, what if your kidneys just function better? Your digestion, better digestion will increase your RMR 10%. You're getting a 10% return. You're watching Netflix like a boss, burning more calories at rest. You know, you have all these other things, right? Here's what I want you to focus on: two main things. Number one is fat. Fat raises your metabolism 3%. So it takes energy. It's like maintenance. So the more fat I have on my body, then I'm only going to raise my resting metabolism by like 3%. It's not very much. Muscle is 20%. I'm not saying you got to be some jacked bodybuilder. What I'm saying is that for every 1 pound of muscle that you add to your body, you will raise your metabolism 20%. Because what you're able to do is this muscle uses oxygen to work. Every single time that you're contracting, you're squatting, you're doing a burpee, you're using this oxygen every single time to metabolize the burning of fat. That's how your metabolism goes up. And the benefit to this is how you get this super cool thing called EPOC. You want to write that in your RMR section, like right over here, where I just told you to write down RMR. You want to write down EPOC, EPOC. Go Google it later. That is exercise post oxygen consumption. Because I told you not to follow heart rate, right? What you want to focus on is doing something that brings your heart rate up and then bring it down, then bring it up and then bring it down, so on and so forth. What that will do is increase your metabolism post workout. You know, it's like you'll see all these overweight people that run marathons, do Ironmans, do 5Ks, 10Ks. You know, I used to be one of them, totally get it. But I've never seen an overweight sprinter in my life. I've never seen somebody I've never seen a track star that could stand to lose 10 pounds. But I've met a whole bunch of people that run marathons that are trying to run a marathon and lose 20 pounds. Just tolerance does not increase how much fat they lose. Now, if you add, you know, Usain Bolt, dude, you see that guy's biceps? He's not in the gym doing bicep curls to run faster, but the sprinting, the intervals, the rev workouts you do here at the gym, the spicy stuff, you know, all the stuff I'm talking about, that will increase your muscle mass. And that muscle mass is going to add 20% to your resting metabolism. Now, if you think about that, what you're going to do is you're going to have a body that at rest is burning 20% more calories than normal. This RMR, what this really is it's the function of your metabolism. It's the exposure of if your body could burn fat at rest efficiently. This is the sign. It's like if it's well, then everything else is well. If you can have a really good RMR and you can have really good EPOC in your workouts, meaning that you're going up and then down, then up and then down. Why do you think we do so much intervals here? On the 4 minutes, on the minute, 3 rounds, the interval weight training that we do, it massively increases the fat burn at rest when you're not exercising. That's your key here. Now, if you go back to your super cool workbook here on the second one, the second block here, I want you to write stress and insulin right here. Stress and insulin right here. So now that you understand, hey, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get my body to burn more fat at rest. What I'm trying to do is raise the amount of calories that I can burn when I'm watching Netflix. And I want a higher percentage of those calories coming from fat, which means I need to burn, I need to use oxygen to burn fat. If that's the goal, which it is, but it is to raise the RMR, then there's 2 things that you need to manage. And those 2 things that you need to manage are your insulin and your stress levels. So there you go. So when you manage your insulin and your stress levels, you're looking at 2 things. Number 1, when you manage your stress levels, you're trying to manage your cortisol levels. I'm going to show you how to do this, but just to get you thinking about it, your cortisol levels are a stress hormone. So I gave you that analogy earlier. I'm going to win the lottery or somebody passes away in my family. Both of those are going to elevate cortisol. You know, if you drink caffeine, every serving of caffeine raises your cortisol levels 20%. Cortisol is just a stressor hormone. It's your fight or flight hormone, if you guys are used to that, but it's a heightened sense of awareness. It gets excreted into your body to manage that stress, but it tells your body to store body fat. It tells it to store it right here in the belly. It is a stress hormone, stress weight gain. If the cortisol levels are too high, I'm going to show you how to fix this, but what you'll notice is your sleep will be really off. You're going to start waking up between 1 and 3 in the morning to go to the bathroom. You're going to start storing a whole bunch of belly fat right here in the gut. You're going to start craving a lot of sugar and specifically, a lot of sugar, and you're going to start craving a lot of salt when your stressor hormones go up. You're probably going to hit this midday lull about 2 in the afternoon. You're going to crash down. You're going to feel like you need a nap. What you're begging for is you're begging for your energy levels to come back up because you have that absence of the stressor hormone, that fight or flight thing. It's kind of like if you give a big presentation and you like crash down at the end of it, cortisol levels are coming down. If your body's under too much stress, that RMR, that resting metabolism, is going to get zonked. It's going to go down. The second piece is your insulin. Insulin is your fat storing hormone. It takes oxygen to burn fat, but it takes insulin to store fat. You cannot store fat without insulin. I'm going to back that up, rewind it. You can't store fat without insulin. Insulin is the fat storage hormone. Insulin is raised from carbohydrates and sugar. And the higher the carbohydrates and sugar go, the more fat you're going to store, all right? Now, what you might notice if your insulin levels go too high is you might run into things like a lot of carbohydrate cravings. Let's say every 2 or 3 hours, you're going into like crave carbs, eat carbs, crave carbs, eat carbs. You ever do that? You know, I get hangry. Do you get hangry? I get hangry. Comment box if you get hangry, all right? But you get like, oh man, I gotta find these carbs. I get blood sugar drop like crazy. You can't think. Your mind's getting foggy. You'll get a lot of midsection weight gain, specifically around the triceps, love handles, and belly. You'll start getting that like pear shape to your body, like wide hips. That's where insulin stores. I know that sounds crazy, but your body has insulin receptor sites to it. So for example, if you were to gain 30 pounds, do you think you'd gain fat on the back of your hand? How come you don't gain fat on your forehead? Your toes don't get fat, right? Anybody got fat toes out there? Like, no, you don't have insulin receptor sites on those areas. Your body stores fat in certain areas. It's kind of like when you drink like a bunch of alcohol or your cortisol levels go up and your body starts growing this way, right? But you eat a whole bunch of donuts and your body grows this way, right? It's just where your body is being told to store fat, and it's because of those insulin levels. So that second section is cortisol and insulin. You're trying to manage stress and insulin in that third part. Now, I want you to go to the final part right here. Share that screen again. And you're going to scroll down right here. I got a bunch of notes for you in this section. Get ready. You're going to write nutrition and lifestyle. All right. So everything for the past 35 minutes that I've been talking about is a story. And it's all going to lead to nutrition and lifestyle. What I wanted to share with you was my journey of, how I got started losing 65 pounds, 13 to 14 years old, questions I had with my clients, things I ran into, questions I asked myself, like this whole weight loss thing. It can't just be this crazy and this complicated and this hard. And how come people can't just eat less and exercise more? I don't get it. But it all boiled down to nutrition and lifestyle. And you notice I'm going to have a note section for you here, a note section for you here. The stress is awesome. Insulin's a need to know. The goal is to increase how much oxygen you can use to metabolize more fat, increase the RMR. What it all boils down to is this final sheet here on your workbook. And before we dive into this is really the answers here, is putting your body in a homeostasis point. So homeostasis is an equilibrium. Your body hates to exercise. Your brain loves to exercise. Your body has no idea that you want to lose 30 pounds. Your brain has an idea that you want to lose 30 pounds. Your body doesn't know you're on this webinar. Your brain knows you're on this webinar. The moment that you do a second repetition, your body is trying to find a way to make it easier than the first repetition. Your body's not designed to come to a gym and do snatches and rope climbs and burpees and assault bikes. Your body's designed to go eat a saber-toothed tiger, right? Or run from one or something. Like, we haven't had air conditioning that long, guys. Like 150 years ago, we were having babies and wagons. And today we're going to Mars. It hasn't been that long, maybe for your brain, but your body's still super, super primal. And the best way to get your body to burn fat is reach homeostasis. You can define that however you want. You can measure it on a calorie balance. You can, take your shoes off, walk around on grass. They call that grounding. You can take yoga. You can get one with yourself. You can do call it whatever you want, but you're trying to find homeostasis. Are you burning what you're taking in? Are you working out enough to stay active? Are you taking in more calories than you expend because you're trying to gain mass? Are you putting more weight on your body than your muscles are strong enough for? So you just increase your strength. That's called principle of overload. You're trying to find this equilibrium, this homeostasis where your body balances. Losing weight, becoming a fat burner, teaching your body to actually burn fat is a trust relationship. Your body has no idea that you want to not only reach your goals, but go beyond your goals. What about when you lose 30 pounds and you start seeing your abs and you go, ooh, I want to get leaner. I want to get a six pack. Your body don't know that. Your body's going, you crazy. Like, I'm already thin and you want, first off, I don't even know what you're doing at 5 a.m. I just know that it's a very intense experience. Your brain knows you're working out at 5 a.m. Your body is just going, holy crap, I'm under stress. Holy crap, I don't have enough calories. Should I lose weight? I don't really know because I'm still stuck in this primal area of let me store food for the next ice age, right? Like it's very, very primal. It doesn't get it. So you ever run into these situations where you start losing weight, you lose weight everywhere else except the one spot that you want to lose it, right? You ever start losing weight, you lose all this weight here and you're like, okay, great, my neck looks awesome, but I wanted to lose belly fat. Or you might lose the belly fat and it's like, oh man, I still got the bat wings. I hear that stuff all the time, dude. I hear it everywhere. I get it. It's because your brain operates differently than your body. Your body understands. Your brain understands what you're trying to do. Your body has no clue. And it won't do that until it reaches homeostasis. The last example I'll give you guys ever watch bodybuilders? Arnold Schwarzenegger, Flex Wheeler, Dexter Jackson, Jay Cutler, all those guys, man, they get up on stage, they're just like, rah. Dude, you can play the steroid card all you want, but steroids do not get your butt up at 4 a.m. to go work out. They just enhance what you're building, but they do some serious stuff. That body's not going to adapt. It's not going to lose weight. It's not going to get that lean. They call it holding to get ready for that show, for that body to look like that. It's not going to do that under stress. From sleep, from lifestyle, from the amount of calories, even your water. If you're really dehydrated, your body's not going to let you lose weight. It does not know that you want to lose weight, nor does it trust you. It's going to be like, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm going to save everything. We talk about this a lot, that you can't just eat less, exercise more. If it was that simple, I wouldn't have a job. Well, if you were just to not eat, your body's not going to go, oh yeah, I got you, bro. I'm just going to shed all this fat. It's going to hang on to everything that you give it. So when you're sitting there at rest, when you're trying to raise your resting metabolic rate, what you're trying to do is get your body to trust you with the oxygen that you're taking in. You're trying to get your body to allow you to burn 50% carbs, 50% fat. There's 3,500 calories in a pound of fat. And somehow you have to get your body to trust you enough to let you burn 3,500 fat calories, not 3,500 carb calories, because it is way easier to burn carbs, it's way faster to burn carbs, and burning carbs taste awesome, right? So here's what we need to do. This is what our entire nutrition program is built around. Bree, our head of nutrition coaching, has built this amazing system with all of her nutrition coaches, and I want to give you a glimpse at what this is. It's a 3-step process, and it takes about 20 weeks to achieve. So the real answer of making your body into a fat burning machine and getting your body to allow you to burn fat is a 3-step, 20-week process, big cyclical cycle. And we'll notice down here at the bottom, it's an 8 to 10 week process of doing 2 things. The first thing that you need to do is lifestyle habits. And the second thing you need to do is nutrition dense quality food choices. Let's first talk about the lifestyle habits. Maybe you guys have seen this, and this is our 5 baselines. We'll send this back out to you in this recap email. And this is actually what our baseline challenge throughout the gym is going on right now. But these are the 5 baselines that you want to work your body into with homeostasis. It's a trust relationship. It's an oxygen relationship. It's a fat relationship. Your body needs consistency. What did I talk to you earlier about investing? If you don't keep putting money in that savings account, it's never going to amount to anything. You have to keep doing it. It's a long-term game. These 5 things you can do right now. If you dedicate to doing these 5 things every day for 8 to 10 weeks, your fat metabolism is going to go through the roof, all right? And I want to break them down for you. So number 1, drink half your body weight in ounces of water. So if you weigh 200 pounds, drink 100 ounces. You weigh 300 pounds, 150 ounces. You guys see me carry around a gallon all day long. Your body needs that consistency. If you get dehydrated, your body will start craving food over water because it knows that you are going to respond to a hunger signal before you respond to a thirsty signal. All right, it's smart. It's going to get you to eat rather than drink, but it needs the consistency. Remember that RMR chart that I brought up earlier? And I said, if you have healthy digestion, then your metabolism goes up 10%. Well, healthy digestion is going to be built around you're taking 1 firm bowel movement per day, not diarrhea, not broken stool, not little droplets, 1 firm bowel movement every day. Urinating 6, 7, 8 times a day. Like those are all big things. 70% of your immune system is built in your gut. So if you can have that healthy gut, your metabolism is going to go up 10%. And water is a massive, massive part of that. Number 2, eat 2 servings of vegetables every day. Sounds so simple until you do it. And what those vegetables do is those phytonutrients allow your body to keep its nutrient density really high. If your nutrient density goes down, meaning you're not taking in the vitamins and minerals you need, you'll start noticing things like you'll start getting dry and ashy elbows. You get like eczema, rosacea. You start losing the last 1/3 of your eyebrows, a lot of white dots all on your fingernails. They're getting real brittle. Those are all signs of nutrient deficiencies. That metabolism is going to drop. Forget about being unhealthy, feeling tired and lethargic. You're just not going to be a fat burner. So we can increase how much fat you burn at rest. Eating half your body weight in grams of protein throughout the day. You weigh 200 pounds, eat 100 grams of protein every day. You weigh 150 pounds, 75 grams of protein every day. It only sounds like a lot when you've never done it. It's just like money. That's why my first book was called Nutrition Finances. You know, if you make 30 grand, 100 grand sounds like a lot. If you make 100 grand, 200 grand sounds like a lot. If you're freaking Jeff Bezos, you don't know how people survive only making $1 million a year. You know, you get what I'm saying? So it's once you take in that more protein, you're going to get really, really used to it. But what was one of the biggest things we talked about with raising your resting metabolic rate? It was raising that muscle mass. The more muscle you have on your body, we're talking just a couple pounds, man. In volume, muscle weighs 4 times more than fat. So like if I had these 2 pins here and I filled one with muscle and one with fat, the one with muscle would weigh 4 times more than the one with fat, even though they take up the same volume, right? So it's not like you're going to add muscle and look like this, right? But it would drastically improve. You need your deadlift days. You need your squatting days. You need your pulling days. Your cardio days, your 30 minutes of long grit, hard and sweaty type stuff is awesome. But I promise you that back squat progression, massively going to increase your resting metabolism. This 4th one, no naked carbs. The no naked carbs is when you're only eating carbohydrates. Like if you only had cereal or only had a bagel, you want all 3 macronutrients, carbs, fat, and protein in every single meal. Remember the second thing I talked to you about how to make your body a fat burner is that insulin and stress. Carbohydrates raise the insulin. So if you're snacking on, what are we told that's a healthy breakfast? Cheerios, a muffin, yogurt, granola, milk, carbs, 150 grams of carbs, 75 grams of sugar. I don't know why I can't lose weight. What was on the commercial? Sounds like a great business plan to me. But you don't want you don't want only the muffin, only the bagel. You need carbs, fat, and protein in every single meal, and have a digestive fast for 8 hours every night. The reason this is so important is it increases bioavailability. Bioavailability is how much your body absorbs of the nutrient. Every time you eat, your body only absorbs a percentage of what you ate. If you took in 100% vitamin A vitamin, your body would not absorb 100%. It would absorb 70, 80%, and it would excrete the rest and urine. So what you're looking for is you're looking to put your body in a position where it can actually utilize what it takes in. And if you're eating so often, it's never getting that time throughout the night to push stuff through the organs. It's just kind of your intestines can store 25 pounds of feces in them. I know, yummy, right? But they can store 25 pounds in there, and you're not really using it. It's just junk. It's left over. So you eat, but you feel like you have no energy. You eat, but you never feel full. You eat, but you're hungry again in an hour. Your body's not using what you give it. That's the bioavailability piece there. And what I want you to do is I want you to focus on those. Oh man, I want you to focus on those 5 baselines in this area. Now, after you really focus on these 5 baselines, the next step is nutrient dense and quality food choices. Remember that story I shared with you when I started training a couple people and they all told me the first thing out of their mouth? When I eat really well. Okay. Eating really good quality food, going to Whole Foods, getting organic, all that kind of stuff, it is important, but it doesn't impact weight loss. I know. Let me say it again. Just because you eat organic salmon doesn't have anything to do with your ability to lose weight. You have to eat enough volume and you have to eat consistently. You should. I'm a fan of organic food, but if you're only measuring your health on how well I eat, that's not the first part of the pyramid here. The first part of the pyramid here was dialing in my 5 baselines, getting my body in this cyclical rhythm where it trusts me. It's going to give me a loan of losing fat because my body's credit score is high enough to allow me to borrow against it. Check out my book, Nutrition Finances. That's what we talk about in there. But it's going to give me a loan of that fat, right? That nutrient dense foods. The third piece here, after you do this for 8 to 10, for the first 2 months, so if you're like May 1st, I'm gonna do this, all of May and all of June, you should be obsessed about this. You can do anything you want, but you can't do everything you want. I'm gonna say it again. You can do anything you want, but you can't do everything you want. So you can't, I'm gonna do everything. You can't freaking rip everything out of your pantry and start working out 6 days a week, do 500 burpees every day, Matt Burden. You can't, all right? So what you gotta focus on is these 2 things. I'm going to spend 8 to 10 weeks obsessing about my 5 baselines and obsessing about good quality nutrient rich foods. And what that means is you're going to do things like you're going to eat real food. You're not going to eat the idea of food. For example, I don't know what part of the chicken is the nugget, so I wouldn't eat that. All right. So you're going to eat real food that you can hunt and gather. And what that, like I said earlier, what that's going to do is get your body in a consistent rhythm. I'm drinking the same amount of water. I'm exercising the same amount. I never just have these big insulin spikes. That whole naked carbs thing is so important. You can't get your body used to doing insulin drops like this because you're just like, oh, I got to eat. And then you slam it with a donut. And then 2 hours later, you don't expect your body to go, feed me. It's not going to do that. You should be able to go 4 or 5 hours without eating. It's not that big of a deal. Now, here's the second part of this pyramid. And you'll notice that as we go through this, a lot of people will enter their diet and start up here and work down. How many people do you know? And it's okay if it's you, but they say, I need to lose weight. I need to build muscle. I need to get in shape. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the supplement store and I'm going to spend $500 at All About Health or GNC or, you name it, right? And they think that they need protein, creatine, glutamine, fat burners. They need all this stuff. But they didn't address the lifestyle habits down here, right? This is the least amount. I want you to look right here before we go to the second part of the pyramid. Nutrient dense and lifestyle habits. I just gave you all that for free. Like the 5 baselines. That's going to make up 60% of your success. You actually focusing on those 5 baselines every day is going to put your body in a position to use oxygen, metabolize fat, raise the resting metabolic rates. 60%. I'm not saying it's going to raise it 60%. I'm saying the chance of you being successful is impacted 60% there. Versus, I'm going to go to the supplement store and I'm going to get all my protein and my creatine, glutamine, and fish oil, and heck yeah, 10%. That's not a whole lot. Again, I'm not Elon Musk, but I want 60%. I don't want 10%. Right? Now, after you do this for 8 to 10 weeks, your second step is you're going to be up here. You're going to start looking at consistent intake and macronutrients. Your macronutrients are carbs, fat, and protein. And you're going to start looking at the volumes in which you eat those. You're going to say, I'm going to eat every 3 hours. I'm going to eat 40% carbs, 30% fat, 30% protein, something like that. I'm sure you guys have heard that before. This is maybe where you start using your MyFitnessPal app. This is where you start getting some guidance from your nutrition coaches, stuff like that. This is your second tier. The reason this is your second tier is we're talking about homeostasis, right? That body has to be consistent. It's got to be consistent over and over and over again. How many of you, I've been guilty of it. I'm sure you have some friends that jump up here. MyFitnessPal, weigh and measure my food, meal prep every Sunday for 6 hours. All of a sudden, I'm Martha Stewart. And 2 weeks in, you're bored out of your mind. And it's the same stuff. You didn't build this stuff down here. You got to build the base. The bigger your base, the better your peak. The smaller your base, there is no peak. The whole thing crumbles, right? Look at the pyramids of Egypt. Huge, huge base working up here. Once you master the fundamentals, go back and do it again. Except this time, pay closer attention. You got to be living down here. If you can own the 5 baselines, where you think the 5 baselines are like a tattoo across your back, and you're drinking half your body weight in ounces of water, you never had naked carbs. You're always in 2 servings of vegetables, 8 hours digesting fat. You are just crushing it. And then you're eating good quality foods. You're not eating chicken nuggets. You're not finding that there's no Oreo tree. You get what I'm saying? You're eating real food. What you're doing is psychologically and physically training your body to be resilient over and over and over again. Maybe you guys have heard of flexible metabolism. A flexible metabolism is when somebody like doesn't drink alcohol, they go out and they drink a whole bunch of alcohol and it doesn't impact their body at all. They just like brush through it, right? So you don't drink that often. The better that your metabolism is down here, you can go screw up. You can go not only get hungover, but you can go get you 2 double cheeseburgers to deal with that hangover. And it's not gonna mess you up. You can go on vacation and it's not gonna mess you up. When you jump the pyramid too quick and you come up here, it doesn't last as long. Your consistency is more like, oh man, I need to, you're like me. I lost 2 pounds on day 1. Why didn't I lose 2 pounds on day 2? Your body's jumping too quick. You need that steady build. But after you get here, when you get up here, this is like a 4 to 6 week spot. Now, this is still a good chunk. The macronutrients and the consistent intake will affect your metabolism 30%. So if we can get this bottom piece here at 60% and then hit the middle piece at 30%, let's see, 60, 30, oh, look, hey, 90%, right? That's 90% of your results. What you'll notice and what you'll hear here is you'll hear things like, when I eat every 3 hours. I try to stay consistent. I try to make sure that I have carbs, fat, and protein in every meal. And all that's awesome. It's just that's your second tier. This, more than likely, is where Bree or somebody on her team, one of our nutrition coaches, is where you're going to want some guidance. Maybe not forever. Maybe you work with them for like a month or 2, but you take your RMR, so how many calories you burn at rest. You break that into percentages. Everybody's different. The percentages of carbs, fat, and protein that you need in your diet. And then you break that into meals. How many meals I'm going to eat throughout the day. And we're going to show you strategies on how to get those meals in. That's called nutrient timing. And it does affect your metabolism, but only about 30%. But that 30% is not going to be affected at all if we don't build the base down here. If we don't obsess about the strong side baselines, tattoo that sucker all in your body. Drink half your body weight in ounces of water, eat 2 servings of vegetables, eat half your body weight in grams of protein, no naked carbs, and digest and fast for 8 hours every night. You start doing that, you build up the second part. Then we get to the third part. I take vitamins every day. I take vitamins, fish oil, magnesium, vitamin D, zinc, and I think that's it every day. However, if I didn't do this lifestyle habit stuff down here, these 5 baselines that we keep preaching about, those supplements wouldn't matter. Vitamins are not going to increase your RMR or your resting metabolic rate. Vitamins probably won't give you any more energy. What vitamins, supplements, micronutrients do, first off, there's only like 5 of them that actually work. I know there's a whole bunch of snake oil out there in the world. There's only like 5 of them that actually work. They just make sure that you're not going to be sick in 10 years. It's not like you take vitamin D today and your whole life changes, your energy goes up. And we'll hear this a lot from people that take vitamins and they go, I don't really feel any better. You're probably not. You're probably not going to feel any better. What's going to happen is you're never going to feel worse. That's the trick there, is you want to feel amazing and get your body in this homeostasis, consistent rhythm, and just never feel worse. That's where the vitamins and supplements come into play. Protein powder, amazing. I wouldn't even really list that in a supplement because it's so convenient. But it's just an easy way to get in good amounts of protein. Fish oil, everybody should take it, man. Vitamin D, would love for you to take it. But if you're just measuring that against, will that help me lose fat? Can I burn more fat? It only impacts your metabolism like 10%. Meaning if somebody was going to come to me and say, I need to lose 30 pounds, I'm going to start taking vitamins, like 10%. Now, to get the whole package, the 60 plus the 30 plus the 10 equal 100%, you want to put that at the end. And it's like the icing on the cake of what you need to do. You know, it's kind of like, it's like somebody coming in the gym and like, I'm going to take steroids. Yeah, how about you just like work out first, Charles, and then we'll see where that gets you, all right? How about you start working out 4 or 5 days a week? How about you start eating a whole bunch of chicken? How about you start doing things you're supposed to do, and then we'll talk about steroids. You don't need creatine and all that stuff. I mean, I take creatine too. I'm not hating it, but you don't need that when you can't drink water. You get what I'm saying? You start here because you got to build that base and it widens it out. I know that you were loving that story in the beginning of this thing. I know that you're like, oh man, heart rate zones and fat metabolism and all this kind of stuff. But it boils down to drinking water. It boils down to eating half your body weight in grams of protein every day. It boils down to working through these things. And that's, if you guys have seen like our nutrition coaches, if you guys have heard about the discovery calls, our coaches do discovery calls with you. You don't even have to sign up for long-term training. And those discovery calls, they'll just meet with you for an hour, either in person or over Zoom, and start breaking this down with you and seeing where you're at and seeing where you're at on these 5 baselines as you move through it. Or maybe you take this whole webinar, this information, these 5 baselines that I just showed you, and you start understanding how to put your body in that fat burning state. But to recap this things, here's what I will tell you, is that the overall goal is not to burn fat while you're exercising. Who cares? Who cares how many calories you burn while you're working out? Who cares how much fat you burn while you're exercising? What am I doing while I'm not working out? That's what really matters. It's all about, I keep quoting my book, Nutrition Finances. It's not about how much money you make at your job. It's how much money you invest to create passive income in the future. You want to make more passive income than active income. You want your body working for you while you're not working out. So how do you do that? Well, you know the only way that you're going to burn fat is oxygen. You can think that I'm full of hogwash, that's fine, but I am just letting you know that you can't burn fat without oxygen. So even if you don't like what I have to say, that is definitely true, that you can't burn fat without oxygen. So then you have to say, well, how do I get my body to use oxygen? It's that whole picture that I showed you. Your kidneys, your digestive system, your liver, your muscles. Okay, well, how would I do that? That's that nutrition pyramid. And it starts with those 5 baselines. It starts with focusing on half the body weight in water, 2 servings of vegetables, all that fun stuff, right? But beyond that, consistency. Those timelines in your packet, 8 to 10 weeks, stuff like that, it's got to be consistent. Keep talking about investing. Put $5 in the stock market today, tomorrow you're not a millionaire. You put $5 in the stock market every month for 30 years, and then you can retire, right? That's how it works. And these people that have really, really good metabolisms, they've done it consistently over and over and over again. And it doesn't have to be fancy. You know, fancy fails, simple scales. The simpler it is, the easier. You don't need all this fancy whatever. You just need to like work really hard in the workout to allow your metabolism to go up and then recover down for a long period of time. I told you to go look at EPOC, exercise post-oxygen consumption, or you can head on over to our YouTube channel. The whole fitness funnels that we put out every Monday where I'm wearing a super cool lab coat and all that kind of stuff. I've been dropping a bunch of information about how to get your body to burn fat when you're at rest, and how to use our RPE charts here in class, how to hit the desired stimulus of the exercise. So you bring your heart rate up and down, kind of talking about that heart rate chart that I was talking about earlier, to increase your fat metabolism at rest. So those baselines are going to be your best bet. Now, what I want to do is I want to answer any questions that you guys might have. You know, I said that a big benefit to this webinar is we can engage. So if there's any questions that you had on what I talked about, you can drop them in the comment box. You can drop them in the chat box. I'll answer them. We are going to send this back out to you guys. I'll send you the information to our nutrition coaching team if you want to look at how to get on that pyramid and the 5 baselines and dive into your plan. I'm happy to answer any questions. You guys all have my email, Mitchell with 1L at the-strongside.com. But most importantly, let's use this time that we have right now. What are some questions that you might have on becoming a fat burner, or maybe something was unclear to you for the RMR, or maybe you had a question around like the heart rate zones as an example, and should you or should you not do it? What about your activity tracker? Is there something you would like me to elaborate on here on how to become a fat burner? Because I would love to answer as many questions as you have. I did see one question. Will this be recorded? Somebody's got to take the 6:45 workout. Heck yeah. It will be recorded. It will be sent back out to you tomorrow. It'll be resent back out to you with this workbook. If any of you guys did not get it, you can refer back to this. This will be private. We won't put this out there to the world. So check it out. If you didn't register, then you won't get it. And if you didn't attend, then you don't get to ask any questions. But I would love to get a question or two here. I can see it in the Q&A section. Looks like the chat is open. Otherwise, I'm just going to be thinking that your mind is blown and you're like, oh my goodness. I'll give you a couple minutes to ask some questions in here, but let me elaborate on that EPOC thing. As you guys are tuning in, again, think of some questions. So I dropped that line of EPOC earlier, exercise post oxygen consumption. And I gave you that idea of a marathon runner and a sprinter. And what you want to think about, I want you to think about running the Peachtree Road Race, and I want you to think of your workouts here at Strongside. Oh, perfect. I had a question about cortisol. Yes. All right. So EPOC, exercise post oxygen consumption. When you do LSD, which is long, slow distance cardio, it's not the LSD you were thinking about. All right. But long, slow distance cardio, it brings your heart rate up and then, or your metabolism up. And then after the workout, it returns to normal, but that gap is only about 2 hours. So even if you run 10 miles, your metabolism is only raised for 2 hours after the workout. When you do spicy workouts, interval-based workouts, hey, it's a wrong unit. You're down at 112 down there. Oh, never mind. Sorry, I thought you were delivery. Sorry. Sorry, we get deliveries here like all the time. But so it's going to bring your metabolism down. But when you do like the intervals, like the Rev or the spicy or the whatever, it takes 36 to 72 hours to bring your heart rate, your metabolism back down. That's why you're able to recover, but your fat metabolism is much higher. Got a really good question. Can you talk more about cortisol response and how to manage? Okay, really, really good question. So just to recap, cortisol is that stressor hormone. So you have your kidneys, and then on top of your kidneys, you have these things called adrenal glands. And adrenal glands pump out the cortisol levels. Or I'm sorry, not cortisol, they pump out cortisol. And the cortisol goes into the bloodstream, and it tells your body to wake up, get stimulated, get pumped up. That's just what it does, right? What cortisol does on the good end is it gets you pumped up. It gets you pumped up. It allows you to lift the weight. It gets you excited, gets you motivated. Okay, but too much cortisol is a bad thing. Now, the cortisol going up, what it does, it eats away at the melatonin pools in your brain. So all over your brain, your body recovers and replenishes melatonin, which you guys may have heard of, like the melatonin sleeping supplements and stuff like that. Melatonin is a healing hormone. It's produced in the pineal gland of your brain. So it's right in the middle of your brain, and it excretes melatonin throughout the body. Melatonin is what heals the adrenal glands. And if you have too much cortisol, you cannot produce melatonin. And if you can't produce melatonin, you can't heal the adrenal glands, which pump out the cortisol. You get my little circle here? All right. If the adrenal glands, which remember they stay on top of those kidneys, cannot get healed, you start getting adrenal fatigue. So you start getting energy high, crash down, energy high, crash down over and over again. That hormone is also regulated through light. And what you'll notice is that when the lights go up, your cortisol levels go up. And when they go down, you start getting insomnia. Your brain starts going crazy. You can't sleep at night. You're waking up between 1 and 3 in the morning to go to the bathroom because you're getting the P signal. It's a stress signal on your body saying, I got to wake up. I don't know what to do. You're starting to crave all these carbs. You ever been full on chips and salsa? No, you haven't. All right. And that's because all those stressor hormones go up when you do that. It doesn't even regulate your leptin and ghrelin hormones. There's your two hormones from your stomach and fat cells that tell your body when you're hungry and when you're full, right? It throws everything off and you just feel all over the place when you do this. There's a couple really, really good ways to manage this. Number one is hydration. I know I'm going to keep hammering those baselines. You got to drink half your body weight now through water. Number two, if your cortisol levels are high, stress hormones are high, you go to the doctor, you got adrenal fatigue, your midday crashes. Strength training is the best thing that you can do, period. Because what strength training does is as it compresses, like let's say you put a barbell on your back and you do a back squat, compresses the spine in a healthy way. It gets the bones to bend up to 1/10 the point of fracturing. Then they return back to normal. And the brain starts sending more signals to the bones to calcify, more signals to the muscles to grow. And that's exactly what HGH does, which is human growth hormone. And I'm not talking about what you buy from your buddy Eddie in his white van on the corner. I'm talking about like you actually producing more growth hormone. And when you produce more growth hormone, the stressor signals go down. And what you'll notice is that as the stressor signals go down, the anxiety goes down. And the reason that you can do that is because you're using more oxygen. I know, mind blown. And the lack of oxygen fuels the anxiety. Think of it this way: you ever woken up and been angry? Yeah, all the time. You ever woken up and been happy and start laughing? No. Well, it's going to take oxygen to make you to do that. So if you can like increase the growth hormone and you can increase the oxygen levels, you'll start decreasing the stress levels. I know, it's crazy. Then at night, this is and then all that other stuff was real scientific, but this was actually like really, really easy. At night, foam roll. There's been so many studies that if you foam roll before bed, it sends more signals from the brain to the muscle to start recovering, lower stress levels, and increase the sleep experience. And the last thing I'll give you to manage those cortisol levels is there's a really good supplement called Relora. We can either get it for you here at the gym. You can ask Bree. We can get it from Thorne. That's a really, really good company. Or I guess you can find it too, but it's called Relora. And it's a complex of Chinese herbs and B vitamins, and it lowers your cortisol levels. You take it before bed, and it gets your circadian rhythm and your stressor hormones to go down, so they'll peak up in the morning. It won't wake you up like in the middle of the night. But you can do that. Let's see. Got another question. Not sure how to ask this, but can the way your body creates and utilizes insulin be permanently damaged? That's a really, really good question. Okay. So if your body creates insulin at a higher level, can it be permanently damaged? Is kind of like the question here. So what that's called is hyperinsulinemia. And so you eat carbs and sugar, your insulin goes up. First off, I'm not telling you not to eat carbs and sugar. If you don't have sugar, then you die. Okay. It takes sugar for every muscular contraction to happen. I'm contracting the muscles of my fingers right now. I'm using sugar. Your brain is made of 70% fat, but it takes 100% glucose or sugar to operate that sucker. No sugar, you die. All right. So I'm not telling you not to eat carbs, but here's what's going to happen is it's based on a scale. So the longer that you've messed it up for, then the longer it takes to fix. I don't really have an exact answer of how long it is, but I mean, like if you ate a cookie one time in your life, then it probably wouldn't do anything. If you ate a box of Girl Scout cookies every day for 4 years, then you get what I'm saying? So it's not like it can't be permanently reversed. It's just that the longer you mess it up for, the longer it'll take to fix, right? But there's that. And then messing up is relative, whatever. So, but anyways, here's what I will tell you. When you take in the carbs and sugar, insulin levels go up. Insulin's primary job is to store things inside the muscle bellies, like in your biceps, in your forearms, in your legs, squats, run, all that kind of stuff. It is needed post-workout. Like post-workout, your blood sugar is like all over the place. You just did all this crazy exercise, you need insulin. But if there's too much insulin excreted, like if you go to Starbucks, you get a Frappuccino and a muffin, right? It's like a bajillion grams of sugar. You have too much insulin that got excreted from the pancreas. And then you got to have all this insulin in your body. And that extra insulin is called hyperinsulinemia. That insulin that's floating through the bloodstream like that is just going to start grabbing fat. And it's going to start grabbing triglycerides and storing it. Because if you have too much insulin, it doesn't have a job of storing fat, you go into a diabetic coma. And instead of going into a diabetic coma, it just tells your body to store a whole bunch of fat. I know insulin is the devil, I'm telling you, but that insulin just does that. I would put a hard no on the fact that you can't reverse it. Like I totally think you could reverse anything that you do with your insulin, because if you didn't, that'd be called diabetes. So type 2 diabetes is when somebody's insulin management is just out of control, right? And then type 1 diabetes is that you don't make insulin at all. So if you don't have diabetes and you're just like, oh man, my insulin's all over the place, I'd be willing to bet that you can fix a lot of that. I will tell you this though, for anybody out there that's like, I'm going to stop eating sugar, you should, but you're going to feel like doo-doo for 2 weeks, because sugar follows the same biochemical pathways in your brain and body as cocaine. So you're literally going to feel like you're getting a withdrawal. You will stop, like, let's just make this up. Let's say every morning you have a bowl of cereal and you swap that over to eating like 3 eggs every morning, and whatever, you go from starchy carbs to rice, you cut out all the sugar. You should be eating less than 50 grams of sugar in a day. Yeah, okay, good luck with that. But a banana has 30, all right? So, but you're supposed to eat less than 50 grams of sugar in a day. You're gonna get a lot of headaches. You're not gonna feel good. You wanna keep pounding water and protein, and you're probably gonna get a lot of diarrhea. I mean, it's not gonna be fun. I'm just being real with you. It's not gonna be fun. But after that 2-week hump, you're going to notice that you can go much longer without eating. I'm not telling you to eat less calories. That is not what I'm saying. I am saying that most people are eating 60%. The average American is eating a 60% carb diet. That's just tons of refined sugar and processed foods. If you didn't eat 100-calorie snack packs, didn't eat granola, you didn't eat sugar-infused milkshakes that Starbucks calls coffee, if you didn't do that, and you just ate like real food, real things that you could hunt and gather, 2-week curve, but you can start noticing that instead of 2 hours out eating, you can go 3, 4, or 5 hours. You're not hangry. You don't get the blood sugar drops. Your sleep quality goes up. You're able to see more muscular definition. I mean, it's really, really good stuff. This is 2 weeks of, oh man. I'm actually a really big fan of the Whole30. As loosely call it a diet. I like her a lot. She tells you straight up in the book, this is not a way to live your life. It's 30 days to like regroup your diet and regroup your metabolism, but you cannot live like this. And it's a good way to kind of detox the body, get a bunch of sugar out. And it's technically 40 days because you eliminate stuff. It's a food elimination diet, but you do that for 30 days and you reintroduce things for 10 days for your whole 40-day cycle. Good stuff. I know Bree's a big fan of that too, but she's super cool. And if you do the Whole30 to start getting off that like sugar stuff, I would strongly encourage you to read her book. I forget her name, but man, her book was good. And in like the first chapter, she goes, don't ever tell yourself this is hard. She goes, fighting cancer is hard. Losing a loved one is hard. Being miserable in your life is hard. Drinking your coffee black is not hard. And I was like, you're my new best friend, lady. Yeah, I've done the Whole30 twice. Good time. I mean, I'm not saying it'll fix everything, but it's a cool way to get the sugar out. But yeah, questions, keep going. I see that I'd say 90% of the people that started this thing are still on. So I know you're listening. If you got questions, holler them out, because I'm kind of done unless anybody's got questions. And like I said, I'm going to do at least 2 more of these this year, and I plan to make them all free. I just want to be able to give some good content. And I want to give you a workbook every time. I want to talk about different topics every time. I'm not trying to fix everything. I'm just trying to give you some good involvement here, show you what you're doing, show you what we're doing with our nutrition coaching at StrongSide, showing you what we're doing with all the fun stuff, man. So I want to help you become a better fat burner. Then one thing I didn't say about cortisol when that question was asked, how can I manage it? Look, I've done 2 full Ironmans. I've done like 10 half Ironmans. I love riding my bike 70 miles, like freaking love it. Long distance cardio is the worst thing you can do for your body. Like seriously, there's ridiculous amount of research showing that long duration, hey, I'm going to go run 10, 15 miles, anything over 90 minutes, there's a really good case that it's unhealthy for you. It's more mental. The Ironmans I've done were 100% mental. Like I wanted to check that off. I wanted to get that medal, whatever. And maybe I'll do another one, but if you live your life running 3 days a week or something like that, so much research showing that that duration of stress destroys your veins, your arteries, ages your body much faster. And, a lot of runners, a lot of midsection weight gain, right? Because all you're doing is burning carbs the whole time. And then all you're doing is eating carbs to refuel. So you just put your body in the state of constantly burn carbs, eat carbs, burn carbs, eat carbs over and over again. And even though you're burning fat while you're exercising, it's nothing compared to the bowl of pasta that you're getting ready to eat. You're just training your body to utilize carbs. You're making it a carb burner, not a fat burner. Because what you're really, really trying to do is like your triglycerides. And I know you guys get your blood work done and stuff like that. A triglyceride is 3 fatty acids bonded to a molecule called glycerin. And that glycerin molecule is a very, very tight bonded sugar molecule. It's what holds your medication together. If you start flipping over really crappy foods, there's glycerin in it. It's a tight bond, very cheap, tight bond. It's made out of sugar that holds these fatty acids together. And if you can use your strength training, your conditioning, keep thinking, dude, your rev days here, like what we're doing today, should be your favorite workouts to burn fat because it's going to disperse this sugar. It's going to blow up these fatty acids. You have less triglycerides, and then it puts the fatty acids in the bloodstream ready to be burned. And your body can't burn those fatty acids if they remain a triglyceride, and it can't do that if it's only burning carbohydrates. All the interval stuff, all the 5 baselines I keep talking about, they have you burn your visceral fat. Your visceral fat is your hard fat that's around the organs, and that's the most dangerous fat. The subcutaneous fat is all the squishy fat. And I'm not saying that that's not, it's not attractive, but it's the least of the 2 dangerous ones. The dangerous one is the hard fat, because that's really what's under the muscle, around the organs. That's what will actually give you like atherosclerosis, coronary heart disease, and all that stuff. But and that's what burns it. Get out of breath, take a break, get out of breath, take a break, over and over again. I just like doing this. This is my favorite too. But any more questions? I'm here to be Helpy Helperson. I'll give you a couple more minutes. I'll answer anything that you got. And I'm also going to drop my email right here. I think it's on the screen too, but I could be wrong. I just put my email in the chat box. You can hit me up there. I mean, everybody should have my email. It's everywhere. But yeah. Strength training is your friend. 5 baselines are your best friend. Homeostasis is your goal, and using oxygen is the plan. You can use oxygen, you can burn fat, and that's the real goal there. All righty, my friends. And here's what I'll do for you too. I'm going to put Bree's email in the chat box as well. Bree's our head of nutrition coaching. If you guys have any questions on the 5 baselines, that pyramid that I showed you guys, the workbook, she's a great resource. You guys can schedule a discovery call with her if you want. She'll sit down with you for an hour, go over all this stuff with you. Really good. All right. So, hey, thank you for tuning in. I'm glad you guys can hang out, listen to some stuff. I'm in the gym all the time. If I'm not, just call me. I know you. It's fine. All right. Hit me up. You got any questions? Let's rock and roll. This will be sent out to you tomorrow, and let's go burn some fat.